Welcome to another tutorial about our Max for Live visualizer. Let's explore how to use our audio-visual devices within the Ableton Live environment. So, how do texture devices work? Let's look at type of devices, signal flow, loading devices, examples. Let's get started. Type of devices. Masters devices are audio effects that do not alter audio, can modify, process, and visualize the final 3D environment. Can be load onto audio, return, master, or MIDI channels. Masters devices are render, system engine, activates all devices to work, receives signals from all devices, displays in texture or monitor windows. F1, master effect, modifies final scene result, functions as a single layer, over 30 effects in 6 selectors. Light, light source, illuminates 3D scene objects, 4 types of lights, ideal for model device. Rec, recorder, records audio and video, receives audio from previous device, receives video from texture window of render. New releases, 4X, layer mixer, 4 independent layers, mixing with different modes, 2 effect selectors per layer. Enviro, 3D environment, use pack.ext images or RGB colors, create realistic 3D scenes, illuminates objects in the scene. Cam 1, single camera, defines the perspective, modifies the lens angle, controllable via keyboard. Generative devices, generate graphic content independently, create 3D objects, planes, meshes, particles, or textures. Transform through audio reactivity. Generative devices included in pack.init. Maya's, primitive shape mesh, audio effect, creates 3D objects, modulates with incoming audio, generates textures and shapes. Toxic, virus sphere, audio effect, creates an audio-reactive sphere, deforms sphere with noise, each digital virus as visual functions. SiGround, a plane, audio effect, generates a layer with graphic noise, has Z-axis displacement, generates organic visual content. Cloud, volumetric graphical functions, audio effect, has multiple graphic functions, uses vector displacement, includes several textures. Plexer, neural network, audio effect, simulates interconnected neurons, allows each neuron to be deformed, creates audio-reactive mutations. Semi-generative devices require an external source or action to generate, are audio effects, except for picture, which is a MIDI effect. Semi-generative devices included in pack.init, model, 3D model reader, audio effect, loads and displays 3D models, deforms each model with audio, supports various file formats. 3D cam, video input, audio effect, requires an external video source, depth displacement via luminance, mixes with audio-reactive graphic noise. Picture, image displayer, MIDI effect, generates a plane within 3D context, loads images folder, supports up to 128 images. Text, text generator, audio effect, generates 2D and 3D text, allows writing text in real time, has textures or materials. See param details in our user manual. Signal flow. Render, toggles the rendering system, receives signals from all devices. Generatives, semi-generatives, mixers and effects, shows in main and preview windows. The view parameter selects where to display the signal, main or monitor. F1. Loading F1 auto receives generator signals, processes them, and sends to render. X. When using Mixer 4X, the view parameter will have the 4 mixes and the monitor as options. The 4X T3X signal is automatically sent to render, but it can also be processed by the F1 master effect. Enviro. With Enviro, select where to display the 3D environment. When using Render, it is only visible in the texture window. If you're using 4X as a mixer, you can send the environment to any of the 4 mixing spaces. Cam 1. When loading Cam 1, select the space to capture. With Render, you can only capture the texture space. If you're using 4X as a mixer, you can capture any of the 4 mixing spaces. Loading devices. Where can we save the devices? To keep files organized, we suggest storing devices in a T3X2R folder within the user library. We call the folder Texture, and inside it, we have the different versions. Where to load Render? We recommend loading Render on the master or a master bus, depending on your needs. Press Command+F and search for the Render device. Select the version you have. You can drag the device to the track or double-click to load it. Where to load a generator? You can load a generative device like Maya's on a track or rack. Generative and semi-generative devices are loaded into audio effects, except for Picture, which is a MIDI effect. Open the Render window and turn it on by clicking the logo. Send the signal to Texture window to view the graphics. How many devices to load? You can load multiple identical devices per channel or different ones. You can chain multiple devices together. You can also place them inside a drum rack, instrument rack, or effects rack. The limit depends on the computer's capabilities. A good practice is to maintain more than 30 FPS. Where to load 4X. 4X can be placed in any audio chain. To keep a tidy live set, we load it on the master alongside Render. After loading 4X, you can route each generator to one of its 4 mixes. This way, you can create different mixes with various generators and effects. We'll explore this in the example section. Where to load Enviro? For convenience and organization, we add Enviro to the master channel alongside render. With 4X present, Enviro can be routed to one of its 4 channels. This way, you can decide which mix to add a colorful or realistic background. See how in the example section. How to load Cam 1? You can load it into any audio chain as needed. We usually place it on the master channel. Similar to Enviro and other generator devices, with 4X present, you can capture one of the 4 mixes. This allows you to have a different perspective in the mix where the camera is positioned. See details in the examples. Examples. Generators to 4X and F1. Use the devices already loaded in the drum rack and channels. The first step is to send the generators from channels 1, 2, and 3 to 3 different mixes. For example, the type of blend between mix 1 and mix 2 is background plus figure. So in mix 1, we will use the Maya grid from channel 2 as the background. And to mix 2, we send the toxic, Mayas, and plexer objects from the drum rack in channel 1 as figures objects. Notice that the faders of the mixers in 4X are raised, but the graphics are not visible. This is because, by default, the opacity control of each device is tied to the gain of the channel where that device is loaded. If we raise the gain of the channels, we can see the graphics of each mix. Now, the manual opacity control in each mix takes effect. Switch the mode of the faders in 4X to automatic control, controlled by the gain of the channel for greater control. Now that we have an independent mix for each channel, we can add an effect to each mix. In Mix 1, load horizontal RGB and shift the red channel. In Mix 2, we can add a strobe. And in Mix 3, add the blow effect to stretch sideground. Now with 4X, each mix has a different effect from the others. If we want to modify all the content with a single effect, we must use the master effect F1. For example, let's add some effects to the final mix. This way, we have independence in channel control and also a master effects processor. Enviro to 4X. Let's send Enviro to Mix 4 in 4X. Raising Mix 4's fader shows Enviro's gradient colors. Let's tweak them. Much better. Now let's add another object to Mix 4, like Toxic from the Kick in Channel 1's drum rack. Once again, we notice low opacity due to Channel 1's gain. Let's group Enviro in Mix 2 and send Toxic there as well. A special feature of Enviro is that it lights up objects in the same mix, in this case, Mix 2. Notice how objects change color when Enviro's colors are adjusted. What if instead of colors, we load a realistic environment into Enviro? You can load .xr files or a folder of these files can be found online. Now, we load a folder of .xr files we already have and select one. We've added a link in the description to download stunning environments for free. See how the environment becomes even more 3D and realistic. Notice Toxic's reflection. It's the room we just loaded. Amazing! EXR files are used to load realistic 3D environments, as they contain lighting information that influences the materials and objects in the scene. Here, you can also add some effects or change the blend type. Cam 1 to 4x plus Enviro. In this final example, we'll use Mix 2 from Channel 1 with the objects in Enviro. Select Mix 2 and Cam 1 to capture that scene. We can see how the view of the objects and environment in Mix 2 changes based on the camera's position. You can move the camera freely, as if it were on a tripod, either automatically or using the keyboard. Let's add one more TXT to Mix 4 to see the difference. We raise the gain of channel 4 to increase the opacity. Notice that as we change Cam 1's position, we can view the objects and environment in Mix 2 from different perspectives. However, the scenes in Mix 1, Mix 3, and Mix 4 are not affected by the camera. We can also add effects to the scene with the camera to achieve more complex results. Experiment with different effect combinations until you get the desired outcome. Explore various mixes, map effects, and create unimaginable visuals. Enjoy it, and don't forget, texture visualizes your audio. Find these and other devices at texture.com. Sign up to get a discount. Subscribe and follow us to stay updated on the latest releases. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.